Good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the 7th class in our Constellations and Consonants study. And today we're going to do the constellation of Capricorn, entering into the deep winter months. Today is May 23rd, I think, and or something, 25th. And this is the festival, Whit Tuesday. 2 days ago was Whitsun, a festival that belongs to the Christian calendar. And I wrote an essay that is in your inbox, and I just want to mention that in case you didn't see it, that you can go and look for this. Whitsun is called the Festival of the Holy Spirit. In other words, also a festival of the re-enlivening of the word. And that is deeply connected to eurythmy, because in eurythmy, we're working with bringing the word, the logos, the creative forces of what we put into word with our language and also with our movements. That's the study of eurythmy, and Whitsun connected to that. Whitsun is also the festival of community, where we, each of us, awakening to our deep inner individuality, is able then from this inwardness to expand to community in a new way. So please read the essay if you haven't had a chance to look at it. And I would like to invite you to begin your practice. So take your place. Take a nice stretch. And then always, when we begin our practice, we have to make a small shift in consciousness. It's like entering your meditation room. And with our modern minds, you can enter your meditation room just by a shift of consciousness. So here you are. And straight. Feel the light of the stars above your head, the ground of the earth below your feet. You are light. Feel that? Now spread your arms wide, opening your heart. You carry love into the world that you live in. This is played out in your relationship to the front space, the visible space, and the back space, that whole universe behind you. Are you ready? Let's go down into gravity, feeling the joy of being in a body, blood, reality, warmth. Going up, touch the stars, acknowledging your spirit home. And now come back to hold the balance in the middle. Light around your head, earth below. Draw your attention into the front space. The world of the senses draws us in. Think of the back space. Create a feeling of darkness, but the darkness has spirit light in it. The world of the backspace releases you. And now center all of that in your heart, the place of consciousness that we cultivate in eurythmy. Breathe. And from your heart, open wide. Feel the rays of your consciousness going in 6 directions. And now move, and you're moving a whole sphere of energy going down into gravity, up into lightness, and move against the space. Focus on the denseness of etheric space. Hold the balance in the middle. The world of the senses, your intention in front of you. The world of mystery. Inside your heart, All of this is engraved in your soul. And one last time. And the difference in this time is that you really feel practice making a difference in space, not just learning from it, but changing it. May peace be below me tenderly to the earth. May peace be above me. May I walk in right relation to the stars. And may peace be all around me. May peace be before me. And may peace be behind me. May peace be within me. The lungs are gently bringing breath in and out around your heart. And there are two hearts. I want to say your heart and the heart of the world. And they like to talk to each other. So let the sun, let the heart of the world call your heart. You open wide all the way through your fingertips, but gently. Yes. And now allow yourself to be nourished without a moment of intimacy. Open wide, sharing yourself, receiving. Take a few steps forward within my heart. You're going backwards, feel the backspace, shines the light of the sun. Coming in within my soul, weaves the warmth of the world. I will breathe the light of the sun. I will feel the warmth of the world. Light of the sun pour into me. And warmth of the world. Surround yourself. Flow through me. Feel yourself shining from within. So with this, we have done many things, including opening this relationship to geometric space, front, back, and right and left. It's the foundation for the poem that we do, Into the Depths of the Earth. Last week, we learned a few more sounds for that poem. Let's try. Remember, we will go down as if we're getting incarnated into the depth of the earth. Lead the path that we, here's your D, that we tread. While from the heights of heaven, our star shines from afar. We go sideways. Let's do an S and a D. We stand on the earth. We are chained in matter, but we are free. For we go between darkness and light and of darkness and light are we. Here comes this P. Remember the Virgo sound and the path that we tread leads us on till we come once again to the light, and ever descend we anew, and ever return to the light and rest. Let's try that once again. I've been working on this poem with some of you since last June, sporadically, and all the weeks of this module. And now you see it's time to start adding some more sounds to it gently, if you can. All right. Into the depth of the earth, lead the paths that we tread. How about this? Tread. While from the heights of heaven, our star shines from afar. Do an S going down. We stand on the earth. We are chained in matter, but we are free. For we go between darkness and light, out of your backspace, and of darkness and backspace light are we. And the path that we, again, tread, red, leads us on till we come once again to the light, and ever descend we anew, and ever return to the light. You with me? And I love to do this wonderful L for light. It's also the sound for Capricorn we'll do today. And often in eurythmy, if we're really agile, we can do many more sounds in it. But I'm not asking you to do all of the sounds, but for the very last word, light, in this poem, let's make it even richer by adding the T to it. Let's go, L. We turn to the, get your arms all the way out here. And then with the T, bring it into yourself. Ever return to the light. Try that a few times. Ever return to the light. And again, ever return to the all the way open, and then scoop it all up and bring it right through yourself. Yeah, the story is about we have gone, we've been born, and we always go back to the light. And for this culmination of the poem, let's bring the light right through ourselves. Ever return to the light. Bring all that light in and bring it from your head to your feet. Good. Thank you. I don't do that for all of the lights in the poem, just for the last one. All right. We've done this so many times over these weeks. Let's try moving it and doing a few more sounds. We'll do it twice. First time we'll do it slowly. Into the depth of the earth. Lead the paths that we read. Your attention's in back of you. while from the heights of heaven our star shines from afar. To your left, I'm going to my left, so you'll have, don't quite mirror me. We stand on the earth. We are chained in matter, but we are free, or we go between the darkness and light, and of darkness and light are we, and the path that we tread leads us on till we come once again to the light, and ever descend we anew, and ever return to the, here's that big L, Angie, to the light. Rest. One last time. Yeah. And before we start, conceive again the meaning of this poem. I am born, and I pass in and out of existence again and again. And my home is in the star-filled realm where I was born, out of which I was born. And now we tell the story with our movements. Into the depth of the earth, lead the path that we read, while from the heights of heaven our star shines from afar. We stand on the earth. We are chained in matter, but we are free, for we go between darkness and light, and of darkness and light are we, and the path that we tread leads us on till we come once again to the light, and ever descend we anew, and ever return to the light. And rest. Thank you. All right, let's turn to our zodiac study. Move into the center of your space. And before we start to just repeat the gesture, let's make this real for ourselves. We stand on the earth. Around the earth are the circling planets, movement, and beyond them are the still consonants. The poem that we did in our Planet Voice, it says, those are the still guardians of the cosmic word, half day, half night, half life, half death. Beyond the consonants, or the constellations, it's a realm in which the spirit creator has not even yet taken form. Beyond the beyond is that infinity who has allowed constellations to come into being, planets to come into being. And as humans, we're here on our Earth planet seeking to individuate. That's all that we're carrying as we stand here in this moment, surrounded by eternity. And so you can imagine as you stand here, the planets circling around your Earth. We have a tiny microcosm around us, and then the planets or the constellations around that. And now let's orient ourselves once again to your right. And if you point to your right, you'll be looking at that side of the room. I have to mirror you, right? But we'll do it that way. Now to your right, we have the spring point, the spring equinox. Behind you, feel your backspace, is summer. Over there, and on your left is autumn, and behind you is winter, and in front of you, come back to spring. So as we did on the first week, let's remember how that looks as if we trace the height of the sun. When you're over there in springtime, the sun is on the day and night are equal with the equinox. As the sun rises to the solstice, feel your backspace here as you do this. In summertime, the sun is high above you. Now turn your hands and allow the summer to become heavier until you get to the autumn solstice on your left in the west. And then the sun goes deeper around the skies in the northern hemisphere at least. And now your hands drop as if the sun has sunk to its lowest place. Now turn your palms up and slowly let winter be overcome as you come back to spring. Do it again. Spring. The heights of summer. Summer gets rich and hot until it gets to autumn. Sun forces darkening. Sun forces darken even more as you get to winter. And turn your palms. Light begins to return. Got it. And so we have the circle. And remember, we've been working with the 7 daytime experiences and the 5 nighttime experiences. So let's go through that here. Over there in Aries, we have the forces of red. Feel it with your whole body, not just your hands. Feel your aura just pulsating outwards. In Taurus, we moderate that into orange. In Gemini, we lighten it to something more selfless, outstreaming in energy without any egotism. And then in summer, as the days only gradually begin to lighten, we come into the green, the midpoint of the summer signs. And then we have blue. Now, blue, really the opposite of red, becomes concave. Leo blue, fading to Virgo blue, going deeper to Libra violet. Now we're going to come to the winter signs, one after another. We're going to enter the realm of peach blossom. As we studied last week, we do the peach blossom by turning this violet inside out, something like the eurythmic consonant but we do it very gently here. Remember, our intention is to become weightless, to become purely aura. So we go from peach blossom violet in Scorpio to violet peach blossom to pure peach blossom. Here you should feel really ethereal inside out. And now we become less ethereal and have a tint more egotism. Blossom red, and now more red peach blossom, not yet quite red. And that comes here, red. That's the circle of the colors. And you'll remember we trace that for so many things, the difference between the light sounds and the dark sounds. Like the philosophies that I'm putting into our PDFs, the more conscious or rational philosophies are here in the day, and the deeper, more spiritual ones are here in the winter. Also, with respect to the sense of smell, or the senses altogether, the more conscious senses of the word and the deed and the ego and seeing and hearing, they're in the light. And the more metabolic senses are in the darkness. Now I'd like to go preparing for Capricorn, but recapitulating what we did last week. You remember last week I told you, and I wrote about it in your PDF, how Rudolf Steiner gave the consonants in a very new way. Starting with Leo, he then proceeded to go backwards through the zodiac. So I'm going to take you on that journey today with minimum of talking, but a lot of movement. He started with Leo and he said, spread your arms out like this. And then he went to Cancer and he said, and now put your arms like this around your chest. Now, Gemini. And then he said, and fold your head and put your other hand and a fist on your throat. And then he says, let your hand point to your chin. And after that, he gets to Pisces, but I won't show that to you yet. Then he comes back and does the winter signs. But let's explore what else he said about these. So here he said, put your hands like this and feel flaming enthusiasm. And so, dear friends, I want you to feel how this experience that we now know as Leo feels like you're just filling space. Flaming enthusiasm. This comes out of our will, a really strong will. And now, the next signs, Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries, all the way around, are going to be the cycle of the will. And the other signs that we'll learn later are the cycles of thinking. More personal, these are the signs of external engagement, as maybe in summer. So I'm going to take you through that now. Leo is here. And then we come to Cancer. And he names this initiative. Inside of yourself, you feel with enthusiasm, I want to do something. I have the seeds for that. And we come to Gemini. And with Gemini, you feel, I can do it. Capacity for will. Then in Taurus, you do something. The deed. And then with Aries, the deed finds its fulfillment, its culmination. The deed becomes an event. Out of your flaming enthusiasm, you've done something, and it stands here. And then the last one, Pisces, is called the event becomes your destiny. What you have created becomes now a reality, your destiny. All right, let's try that again. Flaming enthusiasm, initiative to do something, capacity for willing, do a deed. The deed becomes an event. And in Pisces, the event becomes destiny. One more time. Flaming enthusiasm, initiative, capacity for will, the deed. The deed becomes an event, and this event becomes destiny. And then he goes and says, this, let's do it again. Flaming enthusiasm is Leo. Initiative, he says, we call Cancer. Capacity for will, we call Gemini. The deed, we call Taurus. The event, we call Aries. The event becomes destiny, we call Pisces. So we see when Rudolf Steiner was teaching this, he never became sentimental or sensational. He's always very sober and clear in his spiritual teaching and opens completely unexpected doors. And then we can draw all those forces into ourselves when we do the constellations. All right. Then he takes the other way around and he says, this is the path of thinking, living in our consciousness world. So let's go through that as far as we can. We start again with flaming enthusiasm. And the next one is a step towards inwardness called rationality, soberness, or rational sobriety. The next one, on the way towards thinking, he calls weighing up the premises of thought. So a little comparative thinking, yeah. And then the thought. That's what we learned last week. Now we prepare to take our thoughts into the world. And we come to what we learned last week, Sagittarius. And we're almost ready to come to Capricorn now for our lesson today. So we go from flaming enthusiasm, sobriety, weighing up the premises of thought, the thought, and the resolve. Now we come to Capricorn, the midwinter sign. And he calls Capricorn bringing thought into relationship with the world. So we've gone into our inner conceptual activity, but now we don't want to stay there. We're going to want to come out into the world a little bit like, if you can follow my thinking, the sun sinks under lower and lower in the sky to wintertime. And then springtime will be born out of that. Light will be born out of the darkness from Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces as the seasons begin to go towards the new spring, right? So these over here are the signs of darkness, seeds deepening. At midwinter, we have the bottom point, but also the birth in the manger, the sparking of the seed to new life, and then low rising into deed. So in these descriptions here, Capricorn is called bringing thought into relationship to the world. Bringing thought into relationship with the world. So the gesture starts like this, that you put your hand on your forehead, left hand. So you have to mirror me now. Your left hand on your forehead. And with this, you're really acknowledging the capacity of the skull thinking. And then with your right hand, the will side of your body, you're going to stretch out into the world. And with this, you want to be feeling, I let my thoughts come into me through my heart and stream from my heart into the world. You have your palm forward. Again, and I do both gestures simultaneously. Capricorn. Try again. Capricorn. And again, Capricorn. Bringing your thought through your heart into the world. Getting ready to make sure that your thought is actually world relevant and not just your own personal tower. Capricorn has one more element, the legs. Remember, from Libra downwards, we're descending into the lower body. Libra was the hips, Scorpio is the reproduction, Sagittarius is the thighs, Capricorn is the knees. Reflect upon them. If you didn't have knees, you would have to walk like this. If you didn't have arms, you would walk like this. But because you have knees, you have flexibility. And as I wrote in the PDF, you'll see in some paintings, I'm thinking especially from ancient Indian or Balinese paintings, it looks, sometimes we see pictures of chakras around the knees and other joints, spirals, and of showing that how they make movement possible. And so these will also be acknowledged in our gesture for Capricorn. You're going to take a step forward with the right foot and sink into the knees. We did that with Sagittarius also. We stepped forward and made this gesture. In Capricorn, we step even further forward and sink. So I'm going here, I step this far forward and sink. Both heels are on the floor. And as always in eurythmy, I stand straight. I don't bend forward. I stand straight and I make this gesture, this gesture with my arms. Do them together. Capricorn. So I settle into my knee at the same moment that I make this gesture with my hand. Capricorn. 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 And then what is the sound for Capricorn? The most beautiful sound of all, perhaps, the L sound, the sound that really belongs to the depth of winter. It's the sound of transformation that comes into being by going into the depths and lifting the depths into the light so that spirit can work upon it. We see this in everything. We see it in plant lives. We see it in the cycles of water, and we see it in the transformative work that we do. Those of you who've done the consonant series with me know how I teach this, and we work on it with the poem as well. But let's really focus on it again for a moment. Let me show you what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to just go, L, L, L. L has to involve going into the depths and transmuting them, not just flying your arms up into the air. And so I want you to start all of your L's at the balance between darkness and light. And now going into the dark. You go down like this. And notice my arms are bent. Stay with me. I want to repeat it a couple times. I don't want you to go down with flat hands. I want you to use your joints, because this is Capricorn energy. Use your joints to go down into the depths here. And now as you lift your arms, you need to rotate them right here. Another nice L movement. Rotate them so that the backs of the arms are forward and the fingers are pointing down, and you lift right here. You pass across the horizon line, right? And then you continue to lift and keep your hands together, very lightly touching or almost not at all, but keep the power here till you get to the heights. And then what a beautiful unfolding it is then. Huh? All right, let's go again. Bending, dropping your shoulders. You stay straight. Don't bend. Lift. The lifting is also going through your spine and unfold. And and that little l at the top is what we speak when we speak a word that has the vowel after the L, like this one, light. Let the vowel toss off the top. Light. Light. Yes. Right. So let's do Capricorn and then L and then Capricorn. Reminding your body of where the joints come from zodiacally. Capricorn. Again. Capricorn. Yes. Capricorn. Again. Capricorn. Yes. Rest. All right. Now I'd like to go through these sounds over here from Leo to Capricorn a few times to enliven, also paying attention to the Scorpio and the Sagittarius, which we just learned last week we'll kind of reinforce that learning as we go. So let's go back to Leo, flaming enthusiasm. And now let's do the sounds that belonged with the T and the D. And yeah, flaming enthusiasm. And we go to Virgo, rational soberness. Virgo, in the summer. Ugh. Virgo. And Libra, weighing up the premises of thought. Libra. Take your left hand. Scorpio. Be sure it's your left hand, not your right. The thought. Scorpio. Penetrating. Insightful. And now we do the S. We'll do the S from below up. S. And down again. S. Scorpio. And now Sagittarius. Stepping in, you hold on to your right elbow with your left hand. This hand rests upon here. The higher octave of Gemini, if you remember that. Sagittarius. Good. Yeah. Sagittarius. Capricorn. And Capricorn. One more coming. Aquarius is called the human being in balance between thinking, feeling, and willing. Pisces, I already mentioned, the end of the circle says the event becomes destiny. Okay, let's go through these again from Leo. Leo, flaming enthusiasm, T and D. Leo, rational sobriety, Virgo. Virgo, weighing up the premises of thought. Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Scorpio, Sagittarius. Yeah. Sagittarius, Capricorn, Capricorn, thinking in relationship to the world. Right? Now we'll go through the whole zodiac circle 3 times, and we'll do the sounds for Aquarius and Pisces, but not yet the gestures. First time through, let's do it in standing. The whole circle. Aries, the event, the head, red. Oh. Mm. Aries, the event, red. Taurus, the deed, orange. Taurus, the deed, orange. Gemini, the capacity for deed, yellow. Gemini, high summer, Easter, initiative, F, orange. No, that was green, and this has an orange veil on the Cancer, initiative, green. Flaming enthusiasm, sky blue, Leo. Yeah. Leo. Indigo, deep blue, Virgo, rational sobriety. Violet, weighing up the premises of thought, Libra. Libra. And peach blossom violet, Scorpio. Scorpio. Violet peach blossom, Sagittarius, the resolve. Yeah. Sagittarius. Capricorn. Violet peach blossom, bringing thought into relationship to the world. Aquarius. M. Human being in harmony between thinking, feeling, and willing. And Pisces, the event becomes destiny. No. Rest. Okay. Keep practicing. Let's go all the way through again in movement. You place yourself in the east, the Aries point of your room. And as you go back till you get to Cancer, feel the sun is higher around you. And when you get here to Capricorn, you're in the winter months. Aries. Oh. Mm. Aries. Taurus. Air sound. Taurus, an earth element. Gemini, an air sign. An airy, fiery sound. Cancer, a water sign, and a fire sound. High summer. Leo, a fire consonant, a fire constellation, and an earth sound. Virgo, earth constellation, and earth sounds. Virgo, Libra, Libra, and a fire sound and an air constellation. Scorpio, a water sign and a fire consonant. Scorpio. Sagittarius, a fire sign and earth sounds. Yeah. Sagittarius, Capricorn, an earth constellation and a water sound. Capricorn, and Aquarius, an air sign and an earth consonant. Pisces, a water sound and an earth consonant. One last time. Aries. Oh. Aries. Taurus. Taurus. Gemini. Gemini. Cancer. Cancer. Leo. Leo. Virgo. Virgo. Libra. Libra. Scorpio. Scorpio. Sagittarius. Yeah. Sagittarius. Capricorn. And Capricorn. And Aquarius. And Pisces. And you return to Aries. All right. Now, please go back to the middle of your room. And one last time, let's do our poem so that the consonants really are speaking in the poem, enlivened in new ways. Into the depths of the earth lead the paths that we tread. You ready? We draw in Leo sounds and we draw in Virgo sounds and Scorpio into the depths of the earth. Lead Capricorn sounds, lead the Pisces sounds, path that we, Leo, tread. And Gemini, wow, from the heights of heaven, Venus, our star, shines from afar. Scorpio, we stand on the earth. We are chained, Mars, we are chained in matter, Mercury, but we are free. And before we go, I've got a little Sagittarius in there, between darkness. This is Leo with Venus in a darkness and light and of and darkness and light are we, Mercury. And the path that we tread leads us on till we come once again to the light and ever descend we anew. There's a little Saturn, and ever return to the light and rest. But truly, whenever we do a sound sequence, a poem in eurythmy, we know that we're engaging these constellation and these planet forces as we speak a poem. And a very serious and dedicated eurythmist will actually take that up in any poem that they're practicing towards performance. And indeed, whenever we speak, we are counting on the fact that these formative constellation forces live in us. And when we speak, we are imprinting them onto the air in miniature, just as we imprint them onto the ethers in large when we do eurythmy. Truly, we are the word. We carry the word in our inmost nature. Thank you. Michelle, what do we have for questions today?
We have some questions. Whoops, wait a minute. I was on a different page making notes. Back to our questions. Here we go. Our Joanne was first just praising the COVID vaccine sequence that you had given. Yes. And telling how helpful it has been to her. And she said, I wonder if the COVID vaccine PDF is available for others to buy. It is so worthwhile. Extremely grateful for those blessed lessons.
It could be. Go ahead and write me, Joanne, and give me some ideas for how to do that. You know that it's. Did I put that on YouTube? I put it on YouTube, but I kind of discreetly. If for those of you who look at YouTube, you know that. Yeah, they try to flag anything that mentions vaccine in it for the sake of eliminating disinformation. So I kept it quiet, but it is on YouTube. And the PDF, write me an email and tell me how you think it can happen, Joanne. Yes.
Okay, sorry, we've got a couple more questions coming. I just don't want to miss them. Okay, she also said, can the vaccine support exercises be continued to be an immune support protocol?
They work in a little different way from the immune support series that I did, which I trust that you probably did in the beginning with the reference, the love A and the hope oo. Those are really given for the immune support altogether. But what we're discovering with this vaccine support is because of this A in it, people are really enjoying the strengthening. I've had a couple other people say that it has really helped them for other issues. So it cannot hurt you. And if you're feeling that it's helping you, do it as long as you're drawing something from it.
There we go. Okay, let's see. Joanne also asked, would it be advised to add the practice of the constellations to daily eurythmy practice, especially during their time of rule, such as Gemini now until Cancer? And would their forces help the specific physical issues if used in curative eurythmy sessions?
The curative eurythmy part of it, yes, but that would be kind of secondary because I think it's more for a general altogether tune-up. Once again, I do all the constellations and all the planets in my daily eurythmy practice. I just go through the sequence. It takes me 5 or 6 or 7 minutes. With respect to doing them daily, or to doing the ones of the current season that cannot hurt, and it helps to attune you to the world. And we start touching then on these wonderful questions about the tropical and the sidereal zodiac. And I'm pretty sure that there will be some of you out there who really know the difference between the tropical and the sidereal. And some of you would say that they would really still want to be doing Taurus now, because if you look towards the sun, you would see that it's in Taurus. But if you follow this energetic field that I'm doing, it's really the tropical zodiac. So both realities are true. You could say that the tropical zodiac carries the imprint of the way that the earth was at the time of Christ. It's got kind of a very archetypal pattern in it. And that's the story that we trace. And I think that's the way that Steiner gave these constellation gestures. But if you want to align yourself with what is physically in the sky right now, you would still be doing Taurus now. I live with both realities. Sorry if that's too much information.
No, it broadens our horizons. Thank you. Elizabeth asked, in the Capricorn gesture, does the orientation of the fist on the forehead matter, horizontal or vertical?
I always do it up down. Some people have learned to do it like that, but I learned to do it like that, and that's my choice. But yes, I've seen. So you will not be struck with lightning if you do it different one way or the other. Only good lightning.
Elizabeth went on to ask, is there any significant nuance in the position of the left elbow when doing Capricorn?
I don't think, I mean, yeah, you will have spirals around it and all. The fact that it's out to the side is simply what makes it possible for you to do this. To have your hand on your forehead, you wouldn't want to do that. Yeah, that opens up this whole left side.
Beautiful. Then Regina asked, can we find the different sounds for the poem in the PDF as we practice today?
I didn't do it today.
Okay.
Didn't put it in there.
Then Tish asked, during the poem, as you're walking forward, we're walking backwards. Is that correct?
Thank you for checking. No. I didn't put that into words today. In other lessons and other weeks, I did. In the poem, we are all walking to our own forwards, walking into incarnation. And when we walk back, we walk to excarnation. So this is how the poem looks for you, as if you were following me into the depths of the earth, lead the paths that we tread, light behind me, while from the heights of heaven, my star shines from afar, like you experience going back to Cancer. To the left, we stand on the earth. To the right, we are chained in matter, back to the center. So thank you for asking, and please practice it right away so you put it in yourself correctly.
Yes, I'm going to skip down to Lisa's question because it's connected. Lisa said the whole final poem we were in mirror regarding right and left. Lisa, I'm trusting that Cynthia just clarified that, and if not, please send me another message. There we go.
Yeah.
And now we're going to come to Elizabeth's question. Yes. Elizabeth asked, could you please review and say more about elemental correlations with consonants in combination with zodiac signs?
So Elizabeth, that's a huge study. I can write it up in the PD in an upcoming PDF. And I realize this is one part of the consonant study that I didn't do with you before, but every one of the consonants has got an element, and the elements do not have a one-to-one correspondence with their home constellations. So for instance, Leo is fire, and the consonant connected with Leo is an earth constellation, earth consonant. And so you'll remember last week, sorry, this is my small copy, but remember looking at this, and one of you asked, so what's going on? Why does Aries, for instance, have a different veil than the sign? And you know, Cancer is a green sign and has an orange veil. What's going on? There's not a one-to-one correspondence. And I actually don't think that anyone has plunged so deeply into this that they've made some sort of study of why they would be different. I don't even think it's important. It's something we just behold and try to understand as we do it. So what is it, for instance, I would think, what is it that this big fiery Leo then takes earth sounds? I asked myself that. Well, Leo is so big that it belongs to the T. But the T doesn't have a blue energy. The T's got strong earth red energy. So it's another place to behold, practice, experience, and awaken.
Thank you. You give us plenty to ponder for the rest of our lives.
You're so generous, Michelle.
Okay, I'm going to come back to Lisa's question. And Lisa said, I got lost in the final circles of the poem regarding right and left.
Fair enough. Okay, here's my beginning place. First verse, into the depth of the earth, lead the paths, heights of heaven, stand from afar. Left, we stand on the earth. Right, changed in matter, but we are free. Next verse, we go between darkness and light, backwards, all the way forwards, darkness, all the way back, and light are we. And now here's the outwinding spiral, which is going to go between darkness and light. I start to the left with a very small outwinding spiral, not a full circle. I'm spiraling out bigger and bigger, very small. And the path that we tread leads us on. This first line takes me to center front. Continuing this way, clockwise, till we come once again to the light, forwards, the biggest circle ever. Descend we and you are at the very front of the form. Ever return to the light, all the way to the very biggest backspace. So in my initial movement on this, I start by going clockwise, but I start by going to my subjective personal 9 o'clock, also your Libra position, and I move forwards to my 12 o'clock, no, my 6 o'clock, like that, clockwise. Hope that was comprehensible.
Yes. And if it's not today, we can come back to it tomorrow. And Regina, when you said your words come home more and more, it's like, yes, we just keep coming around and around, and eventually it comes home. And
Right.
Lisa said, yes, thanks. We've got this. Enough to work with it. Something to chew on. Okay, there we are. Thank you, dear one. Let me see. Yes, thank you to everyone who is supporting this initiative financially through your donations. Oh, wait a minute. We've got one more question coming in. Here we go. Laura asked, could you share more about the thinking that's in Capricorn?
Once again, he says, bringing thought, not thinking, but thought into relationship with the world. So let's think about that as the Capricorn activity. As I said, you've studied some anthroposophy. You understand how Rudolf Steiner is really forging a path of consciousness for us to really take hold of what does it mean to be a cognitive being, to be a thinking being. He speaks about dead thinking, which is when we are in mechanical thinking or just rational thinking, or living thinking, in which we really awaken to what's happening in the spiritual activity of thinking. Huge question, which and give you another thought. Whenever we look at the sense world, the senses just come into us, but they don't give us meaning. It's our thinking that gives us meaning. In every activity of thinking, of sensing, we are merging our thinking with our meaning, with our senses. And we often overlook that. And then we merrily go our way through life without realizing how essential our consciousness is, until we perhaps see someone with Alzheimer's, for instance, who can't bring those two worlds together anymore. So now here we're walking the path of thinking, weighing up the premises of thought. That's a little bit more like rational thinking. Scorpio, the penetrating capacity of a consciousness that won't let go. And then Sagittarius is going to, out of thinking, it knows where it wants to go. It experiences a movement. And this is bringing thought into relationship with the world. So it's the next step of, now that I've thought about something, now that I've understood it, how can I test it? How can I understand it? How does it really relate to reality? Am I, do the thoughts that I'm building, that I'm creating, yeah, how do they relate? And I even think, if you know this term, I think it begins to touch on ethical individualism, where the individual, out of our profoundest depth, create an image of a moral deed that we're going to do in the future. Steiner doesn't use all those words in this lecture. That would be too much philosophy, but I think that's where it's heading.
Yes. Thank you. Let's see. Kathy asked a question, and this is a good time to just clear this up for her and possibly for others. So Kathy asked, we started the zodiac circle in the east, but in the past for the stage, we started on the right. And Kathy, I don't know if you're referring to the picture that Cynthia held up where it's on, yes, where it's on the left.
So, Kathy, this is your experience. Yeah, you start on the right, the east, and you move like this. But if someone's sitting in the audience back here watching you, they will see that you're on the left side of the stage. So this is our process in the eurythmy practice, that we we have to understand what our things look like from outside. Always we start the zodiac circle in what looks to the audience like the left of the stage, but what is for the eurythmist the right of the stage.
There we go.
Mhm.
Okay, come back next.
So hold on,
Oh,
just picking up the paper then again. When you've got this paper, you see this is Aries, the summer sequence, and the winter sequence. And from the audience perspective, it looks like this, that winter is closer to them, and the eurythmists, when they're in the back of the stage, are in the summer, right? But as the eurythmist, in order to perform that and to give the eurythmist that, or the audience that perspective, you have to hold it like this. So as the eurythmist, not the audience, you start over there on the right and go back to the green, come around here, and then come forwards into winter. And then the audience looks at it and says, oh, they're going far away from me. They're going towards Cancer. They don't think like that, but so the same thing. Do I have any? Maybe just a second. But here is, for instance, a collection of eurythmy forms that Rudolf Steiner did. This one for, these are the calendar of the soul forms, one for each verse of the year. And Steiner, when he wrote his forms, he would imagine himself to be sitting and looking at the stage. And so he drew the forms in his mind's eyes, perceiving the stage. But as a eurythmist, if I'm going to perform this, I have to turn my book upside down and become what he was looking at. So we always, that's why on every form that we do, we draw a little P or sometimes an A on the bottom of the form to say, this is where the audience is sitting. So make sure when you look at the paper, the P is on the bottom of the paper. Maybe that's too much information, but I hope that cleared you up, Kathy.
there we go. Cynthia, thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
lots of gratitude in the chat, and I know you will read those comments later. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
always do. Thank you to everybody. Next week, Pisces and Aquarius, and the 12 moods poem.
Ooh. You'll be here.
Yeah. All right. Goodbye.